Good morning, Dual Coast Live fans. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Dual Coast Podcast.
Exciting.
Very exciting. I'm your host, Dan Skoka, joined by my West Coast co-host over there, Russ
What's
Rowley.
up? What's up, everybody?
How we doing over there?
Doing great, man. You know, it's not East Coast cold over here.
For sure.
It's 47, but it is cold. One of my friends said, "Hey, check out last night before bed, check out the star. There's one that's out there that's kind of twinkling." So I opened the door, walked out. Sure enough, it was twinkling. So out on the wharf, we have these telescopes, right?
Oh, really?
That are set. Yeah. So I went out there, scoped in. I found the star. You really couldn't tell much difference, over that in the naked eye, but you could definitely see that it was still twinkling and everything. But I was in sweatshirt, but kind of dressed like I am now with a beanie and shorts, flip flops. My legs and feet were cold.
I'm sure.
Cold. Wind was blowing. So yeah, coming off the water. It was a little chilly. So it wasn't 30 like you.
Yeah,
but but it was a crystal clear night. I mean, you could see Monterey on the other side. All the city lights. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful last night. Yeah. And the funny thing is, yesterday afternoon, there were tons of people on the beach. Well, I mean, not tons like summertime tons, but there were tons of people because the afternoon was absolutely warm from like 12 till about 3:30, and then it cools off.
Oh, really?
But man, yeah, for a December day after all the wind and rain that we had last week and tons of snow, they got like 90 inches up in the mountains in 3 days.
That's crazy.
90.
How far is that from you? How far is that from you?
If you go to Tahoe, you're like 5 hours.
5 hours.
Well, that's 5 hours of driving straight there. And if you saw the news, you're not driving straight there. You're sitting, it's a 2-lane road on Highway 50, or it's a major freeway on Highway 80, and you came in on the north side. But Highway 50, 2 lanes, that's it. So going there, bumper to bumper, people on the side of the road, no thanks. It's just like Times Square.
As a,
people,
that's like Times Square on New Year's Eve. But as I tell you all the time, I'm yet to understand the weather for California, because I come there to see you. It's hot here. It's cold there. It's freezing here. It's nice there. It's snowing above you. It's summer below you. I'm yet to figure it out over there on the West Coast.
California is huge.
Okay,
huge. I mean, so last week when we had the wind and the rain, actually in the harbor. Did you go to the harbor when you were here?
I went to the harbor when I was there. Yeah, because I went to the wharf. Yeah, that's the harbor, is it not?
So it's close to it.
Okay,
but it's they had, I guess the winds reached 91 miles an hour in the harbor. Tons of damage last week.
91.
Yeah, 91.
Wow.
Now I don't know if that was a 91 mile an hour gust or if it was winds. That was consistent. I don't know, but it was windy here for like 4 days, especially at night, not necessarily during the day. But yeah, we have an array of weather here. That's but right here, it's actually unbelievable.
Really?
Southern California last week, dumping. I saw this 2-story building with the exterior stairs, and it was like a waterfall coming off. Like there was so much rain in Southern Cal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rain makes sense to me. Snow, heat, rain, like all combined, it's interesting. Because like if you look at New York, I mean, New York is a big state too. It's not as big as California, obviously. But if you look at New York, most of the weather stays almost the same. Like if it snowed here, it snowed in mid-northern New York. Maybe not Buffalo, maybe not Rochester area, stuff like that. Their weather may be different, but a lot of the state gets the same weather as it comes across. Cali, completely different, because you get the north, you get forget about it, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And the thing about Southern California is, it's very dry down there, and it's, besides the mountains, it's pretty. I mean, it's just one long continuous slope to the coast, right? So water runoff, they have these massive canals, and it just all runs right into the ocean.
Right.
And San Diego as well. I mean, it floods there really, really quick.
Right.
Up here it doesn't flood as much because more prepared, because we're Northern Cal.
We're
Northern Cal.
Everybody stays ready in North Cal.
So what are you doing? What are you doing for New Year's? Speaking of New Year's, what's happening?
Not much, man. Not much. Hopefully just get a nice dinner in tomorrow evening and pretty much just relax for New Year's Eve. We may go out to a friend's house or something like that a little bit later on, but I don't think any big plans or anything like that. I will not be in Times Square if that's what everybody listening is contemplating. If I'm going to be in Times Square, I will not.
I figure you'd be right below the ball, man.
No, man. If I had a hotel room with a nice balcony viewing Times Square, that's a different story, maybe. But you would not catch a New Yorker on the ground in Times Square. We were talking off air about this a little while ago, and Russ has some mutual friends or some friends that are going over there now and going to be in the city for New Year's Eve, and I don't recommend it.
Yeah,
recommend it.
Yeah, I'm not going to share with them.
That's
what
okay.
to do or what not to do. I'm just going to listen as far as what they do.
That's it.
And hear the story afterwards if they choose to go there.
Correct.
But man, what you told me, no thanks, man. No way.
Yeah, you got to be in there for 12 plus hours easily inside those barricades. You cannot leave. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't get something to eat. I mean, to me, I'd rather be on my couch watching the ball drop.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. But
yeah.
Don't discourage anybody who wants to experience Times Square from going to Times Square.
Yeah.
But
and for the early birds, you can watch the ball drop at 9 p.m.
That's right.
West Coast.
That's right. That's right. That's correct. That's correct.
If you've got the right channel.
That's right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
And then go to bed at 9.
Good point. That's actually very, very, very true. I've actually never thought about that.
So 2 years ago, I started something where at midnight I go out with a pot and a spoon, and I go out and just at midnight.
Do you really?
Yeah. So then I have a neighbor 2 doors over, and sad story, but I won't go into it. But her son's birthday is January 1. So I said, hey, last year I said, join me at midnight. She has a balcony 4 floors up, 2 doors over. Right. I said, so join me. I'll be outside banging my pot. You go out on your deck and we'll honor your son's birthday. Right.
That's it.
And so we did. I could hear her up top. I'm down below, bringing in the new year. So she's in Southern California this weekend or for New Year's. So I said, don't forget, midnight, she's going to be with her kids. She's not even going to tell her kids and her grandkids what's happening. She's just going to shock them.
That's funny.
So that's our new tradition.
Your neighbors must love that, man.
Oh, baby, we're bringing it in. Well, there's fireworks going off. There's, people are yelling and,
Fair enough.
And then in about 2 minutes, it's dead silence.
Yep. We have the same thing. We get a fair amount of fireworks going off at midnight. I don't know about anybody banging on pots, but maybe they're out there. But yeah, fair amount of fireworks.
Start a new tradition. Join me in New York.
Oh, okay. Maybe we could do something.
You got to stay till 3.
Maybe we should try community strides. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Set your alarm at 2:55.
Yeah, exactly.
Join us at 3.
Yeah, walk outside my pot. I'll probably end up in jail.
Yeah. Everybody's like, what? You're 3 hours late.
What is this guy doing? Tie it into community strides, Ross. Maybe we'll get a bunch of countries banging on pots.
There you go. Great idea. Great idea.
I like that.
No, it's for me, I was gonna go join a friend on his boat, nice. But because of the winds and all the damage over there, I don't think anything's happening. So they'll probably go to the Crow's Nest. I've got friends across the street. Go hang out with them. Here, he's going to just start having people over around 4, and they've got, food and games and just, I'm not going to hang out from 4 till midnight, but I can come and go. It's 100 feet away.
Yeah.
So, so kind of, pretty low key and just, hanging out with friends and having fun and laughing and
Nothing wrong with that.
And eating. Yeah.
Nice.
That's about it, man. And ring in the new year. But what is the best way that we can ring it in? By doing what?
Good question, Russ. What is the best way we could do it? We could pick a word.
A word.
Yep.
Remember when that was a thing?
Word. So
yeah, we could choose a word, which you did not long ago.
I did. So Remind me again of your word. Remind me again of your 26 word.
I'm not going to tell you until you tell your story. Go ahead.
I'll tell you my story. So actually, this is actually, I was listening to a podcast. So,
Okay.
us having a podcast, I'm a big fan of Chris Williamson. Chris Williamson is one of my favorite podcasters, along with a few others. But I had a Chris Williamson episode on the other day, and he had Scott Galloway on. So Scott Galloway is an NYU professor. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's an advocate for a lot of different things, but he's interesting to listen to. He has a PhD. So Chris Williamson actually said he had a pretty profound statement. I don't think this is a brand new episode to people who are listening right now. They probably have listened to this already, if you're a Chris Williamson fan. But he said, what is the best way to pretty much get ahead, or something along those lines is the best way I'll phrase it, just to paraphrase, for men of a young age. And he was specifically focused conversation on men, but it applies to women as well. And Scott Galloway literally came out and he said, put yourself in rooms you don't belong to be in. You don't belong in. And he said, apply to jobs you shouldn't get, apply to schools you shouldn't get into. So pretty much Scott Galloway came out with, for lack of better words, making yourself uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally how he said it, just in way more words is what he said.
Yeah.
Make yourself uncomfortable. So I said to you, the other day, I was contemplating on how to pick a word and what I was going to use. And I had between a few different choices. And we discussed this a few weeks ago on the podcast. And then I was listening to the Chris Williamson episode, and I said, Scott Galloway is pretty much saying to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to propel.
Boom.
And what have I always said to you? I always say, put yourself in the room.
Always.
He said literally the same thing as me. And I'm like, all right, I make myself uncomfortable. And then I'm sitting there, I'm going, that's it. That's the word.
That's the word.
Uncomfortable. I said that is a word for me that will literally apply to so many things in my life. Making myself uncomfortable as far as physical fitness. All right. So getting in the gym, working out, making myself uncomfortable as far as, networking, meeting different people, putting myself in different rooms. And I even said to you, I've said this to you on multiple occasions, like, I was uncomfortable when we started going to conferences, personal development stuff, putting myself in a room. I didn't know anybody. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have a business, nothing like that. But I put myself in rooms that I probably didn't at that point belong in, and I started networking myself and meeting different people and putting myself out there, and I made myself uncomfortable. And now I'm going to put that really to the test in 2026, because that is going to be my word for 26. I want to make myself uncomfortable in all different aspects and see where that gets me.
That's awesome, man. Well, since we met a year and a half ago, right? Yeah. That, we were in a room. It wasn't a big room. There was about 30 people there.
Right.
But even with 30 people, right? It's still 30 people you don't know.
You don't know. And you don't know anything about them. They don't know anything about you. Granted, there's a couple of mutual friends in the room, but regardless.
Yes.
But yeah, you make yourself uncomfortable in those situations. But look what grows out of them. Look what grows out of those rooms. It's literally amazing. And if I think you give yourself a real opportunity and a real edge when you put yourself in rooms that you don't belong in. As Scott Galloway phrased it, put yourself in rooms you don't belong in, and look up to people who, inspire you, or people that, you perceive as more successful than you.
Yeah.
Put yourself next to them, introduce yourself, get yourself out there with those people.
Yeah.
And I found it to be an interesting concept, because I would say 90% of people won't do that. They won't make themselves uncomfortable. They won't put themselves in that room, because if you look at so many statements by everybody who's, they're always going, most people don't even try. Most people don't even try. And that's probably true.
Yeah.
That's probably true. 90% may be a high number, but 80%, something like that.
Sure.
They don't put themselves in those rooms. They don't put themselves in uncomfortable situations. People love comfort.
Easy.
People love comfort.
Hit the easy button.
Button. Yep. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Is always
absolutely. Yeah.
So you got to do the hard stuff. And I think putting yourself in rooms like that, that might be the easy part of it, honestly, because that's not even the hard stuff yet. But putting yourself in those rooms is the first step to getting towards the hard stuff. That's how I see it. And, you put yourself out there, you make yourself uncomfortable, and you see what comes out of it. That's my opinion for 2026. I want to get uncomfortable in a lot of different aspects, and I want to see where it takes me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great, man. That's a great word. Mine is also an unword.
Yeah.
Unrecognizable.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, unrecognizable in the way that, you know, for my growth for the last year and a half, 2 years max, my growth, being uncomfortable, being in rooms, meeting, networking, you know, is exponential growth.
Sure.
And, you know, there was my word, you know, a year ago, you know, was intentional.
Yeah.
Then this year was certainty. And now going in a growth pattern of where I want to be is that I want to just grow leaps and bounds this year, is putting myself in a situation to where I'm growing, because there were a couple of books that I read, Who Not How and 10 Times is Easier Than 2 Times.
Yeah.
Two fantastic books. I highly recommend people that are listening. Those are two great books written by the same two guys, Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Highly recommended, right? And those two books catapulted my thinking to where I am now.
Yeah.
Just in the last 6 to 8 months.
Yep.
And now going forward into 2026, I'm excited. I'm thrilled. You know, the impact event that we did back in May that you were a major part of, you know, you made it, you know, you made a huge impact that day. You know, when we interviewed Karina Reed, you were in the room, you're meeting people mainly from the West Coast. This year we're going to 4 events. We're going to launch in Portland, and then we got Santa Cruz, and then we've got Pittsburgh, and we got Minneapolis. So, and already working on 2027 in Dallas. Just amazing stuff. So there's that. There's Next Gen Visionaries, which I'm launching, because we launched this. You know, I invited 13 people to be a part of a small group of people that, you know, wanted to become better visionaries. And so we meet one time a month that you're a part of. And that visionary group was kind of the launching point in my thinking, like, I want to do something like that, but at a greater level.
Yeah.
So starting in January, Next Gen Visionaries. An exciting thing. I'm looking right now for 15 people. If you're listening and you want to be a part of this group, message me. MoveToday365.com or at yahoo.com. You can message me. You can message me on here at Dual Coast. The thing about it is that it is for people who want more in their life. Educators, entrepreneurs, business owners, you know, mom and dad, you name it. This thing is open to whatever type of person who wants to grow this year in terms of their vision for their family, for their future, for the next generation, for schools, for you name it. You want to grow as a leader, you want to grow as a visionary. This is something to be a part of. You can come in at any time of the year, but right now we're building out our top 15 premier players who are going to be a part of the major growth plan for 2026. Next Gen Visionaries. It is exciting. And we're going to meet on a regular basis every month, and we're going to talk about leadership. We're talking about visionaries. We're building this thing up to impact not only this generation, but the next generation.
Yes.
So unrecognizable.
Love
That's
that.
it, man.
Love that. We're both unwords. That's good.
Unwords.
Well, your word very much ties into uncomfortable also, and my word very much ties into unrecognizable, because they're kind of intertwined. The idea is I want to make myself unrecognizable by making myself uncomfortable. You want to make yourself unrecognizable by making yourself uncomfortable at the same time.
That's right.
So you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're doing things you've never done before. You're launching ideas that you've never launched before. So you're making yourself uncomfortable in doing so in order to get to the unrecognizable threshold.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it too. Exactly. Like I also want to make myself unrecognizable by getting uncomfortable. That's the idea here. And, you know, like going back to that Chris Williamson podcast with Scott Galloway, that was his main standpoint, is make yourself uncomfortable, do things that you don't belong to be doing at this point in time. Shake hands you shouldn't even be shaking at this point in time. Get out there and make yourself uncomfortable. And I think that's going to be a huge part for me for 2026. And, you know, just tying back real quick, we talked about how New Year's resolutions don't usually hold up. You know, people make this, you know, New Year's resolution and it's gone by February type of thing. Oh, I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to do this. I'm going to lose weight. not discouraging New Year's resolutions right now, but I think one word will allow you to propel better as opposed to making several New Year's resolutions and saying, oh, I got to try to do this more. I got to try to do that more. I got to try to do this more. Uncomfortable to me is my word, and I'm going to tie it into everything.
Yes. Physical
fitness, finance, rooms, networking, people, everything. And, there's been a few situations already and stuff like that. Like, I was, shopping for Christmas and everything like that. And I was buying people gifts and I was like, I don't really want to go in that store right now. And I'm like, you know what? That's part of being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Stuff in that store right now. We're going to go out there. I'm going to, get these gifts and stuff like that. And I just kind of tie it into everything I'm doing right now. All right. Would this make me uncomfortable? Yes.
Yeah.
Do it. Would it make me uncomfortable? Yes. Do it.
Yes. Isn't it amazing how it infiltrates every part of your being?
Yeah. That's 100%
right?
True. That's 100% true. And it's way, way better in my opinion. And again, I'm not knocking New Year's resolutions to have one word and just tie it into everything that's around you.
Yeah.
Like Russ is going to go out and he's going to say, will this allow me to be unrecognizable? Will this lead to me being unrecognizable? And he's going to tie it into everything. And you could also say no to certain things now.
That's right.
Because to me, all right, this is making me uncomfortable. Nah, this is in my comfort zone. Nah, it's not worth doing. It's in my comfort zone. Nah, I know those people already. Nah, it's in my comfort zone.
Yep.
How's it? I got to get uncomfortable. Those people, I don't know those people. I want to talk to those people. I want to network with those people. I want to get myself in that room. I've never been in this room. I want to get in that room.
Yes.
So to me, that's really how you succeed. That's how I see it.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing about it is that because people don't want to become uncomfortable, they're not going to become unrecognizable. Right.
Yeah.
Because, and I think I really like your word a lot. Right. Because in order to grow, that we have to go through that uncomfortable stage.
Sure.
Right. And meeting people oftentimes for a lot of people is not the greatest experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Anxiety builds up at all time levels going in. Yeah. I mean, I could go to my neighbor's house across the street for New Year's Eve. Right. And not go because I feel uncomfortable.
Sure.
I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to see old friends. Right. Yes. So there's that dynamic. But oftentimes when you go to a conference, if you don't go with somebody, you don't know anybody.
Zero.
So that's uncomfortable. Right.
Sure.
And, but in order to grow, you have to get uncomfortable.
You have to get uncomfortable.
You have to get uncomfortable.
Yep.
Right. So for those that are out there that are listening, think about this in 2026. Find some things that you can go to, that you want to go to, and put yourself in the room.
Yep.
Get uncomfortable. And I guarantee if you put yourself in the room and you put yourself and you say, I'm going to meet, let's just say this. You go to a conference of 150 people, I'm going to connect with at least 20.
Sure.
20.
Easy.
Very easy.
Easy.
People are there to do the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Go up to people that, you feel a little anxious. You feel uncomfortable. Go up to them anyway. Introduce yourself. Where are you from? You know what I mean? Do those types of things because that is going to grow you as a human being.
Yep. We have a mutual friend who we were at A to B conference with. I'll say Jason. And when we were there, I was talking to Jason and stuff like that. He goes, who haven't we spoken to yet? He said this to me. He goes, who haven't we spoken to yet? And I'm like, I don't know, probably a lot of people here, honestly. And he goes, let's go talk to him. And I'm just like, man, that's like, that's so uncomfortable. And I think about it now. And like, he's totally right. Yeah. He's like, we haven't spoken to these people yet. Let's go over here and speak to them. Let's go introduce ourselves. And I'm like, this guy gets uncomfortable. And it's the right thing to do. It's how you really do it.
That's it.
Uncomfortable. And it's just so true. And you never know. And this has been said at many conferences that me and Russ have sat in. You don't know who's sitting next to you. That person sitting next to you could be your next business partner, your next friend, your next whatever they are. But you never know who's sitting next to you at these conferences or who's, in the room or who's going to tie into what you want to do in life.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you see. It's amazing what you get out of it.
That's it.
So true.
So true. Yeah. So, those are our two words. Yeah. Uncomfortable, unrecognizable going into 2026. I'm excited. You know, I was reading a little bit of the back end of 10 times is easier than 2 times yesterday afternoon, man. I was just sitting in the sun and I was going over and this one particular chapter. And when I was going over it, I was just like, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it talked about um, in order to grow, in order to go 10 times is easier than 2 times. In order to get there, you've got to hire people. And you're never really ready to hire people. When
Sure.
you're the one, like myself, for a long period of time, when you're the one doing it and doing it alone, you're only going to go so far.
Sure.
That's
Very.
it.
Yep.
That is it. You're only going to go so far. At some point in time, you've got to hire somebody and finding that who that's going to help you, right? It's not how I'm going to get there, it's who's going to help me get there to
Yep.
help alleviate some of the workload, you know, and the goal is to get 80% of the workload off and letting the who's take care of it.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
it's who's going to take you there, not how you're going to go there.
Absolutely true. And I think I truly, I read that book because of you. And I think that is the most true book I've ever read in response to how you actually propel in a lot of situations is using who's around you, not how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so true. And that ties back into these conferences big time because you don't know who's around you and they could really help you and you could
Yeah.
really help them and simultaneously. And I think that's very, very true. It's who
Yeah.
not know. And, there's always that old statement of who you know, who do you know,
That's right.
type of thing. So, and it's actually true. So I think, going to 2026, it's going to be a lot of who, not how for both me and you.
Yeah.
And we're going to get uncomfortable and unrecognizable.
And I'm going to share a story that happened just about 5-6 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I went to Minnesota, to Minneapolis, to support my buddy Jared Sebesta.
Yes.
If you're there, if you're out there and you're listening, follow Jared Sebesta.
Yes.
The guy is doing some unbelievable things and growing, and he and I are in alignment, and we're doing things. We talk about different stuff, but we definitely cross in some things. But I went there to support Jared in his first event.
Yep.
I also knew of 2 people who were going to be there, who were the speakers, 2 of the 4 speakers. Jared won, Arjun, Amberly Lago.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went there to do 3 things. I had intent. So I go back to 24 and I had intent on 3 things. I'm
Yep.
going to support Jared. I'm going to network because I also am doing an event in Minneapolis. And then not only that, but I want to meet Arjun and Amberly Lago. So Amberly, every break that we had, she's a powerhouse out of Texas. Every break, there were gobs of people around her.
I'm sure.
Okay. Powerhouse. So the event is over. And I said, okay, I've got to meet Amberly. I don't know if she's going to the dinner afterwards. I'm assuming she is. I don't know. So I looked, I waited, I talked, I networked, and then I looked over and nobody was around her. And I said, boom, I'm going, right? Said goodbye to this person, beelined it over to Amberly. I went up, I introduced myself. We had a conversation. Tell me about yourself, Russ. Told her about what I'm doing, told her about the impact events. She said, I want you to come to Dallas and do the impact event with me. Had I not got uncomfortable, right?
Yep.
Right? Had I got not got uncomfortable, went over there, met her, I'm telling you, it would have never happened. So get uncomfortable, meet Amberly. She opens the door. We just swapped numbers just days ago, right?
Yep.
We set up. We have a meeting in about 9 days from now. We have a phone call. So we're going to start looking at 2027.
Yeah. Yep.
Getting uncomfortable is the way that you're going to become unrecognizable.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
So am I patting myself on the back? No, but yes.
Yes.
I don't do it in a braggadocious way because I'm not that way, but I do it in the sense that I see in myself that a year and a half ago, getting bold and doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
has allowed me to get uncomfortable, to get in these rooms, to network and to meet people,
For sure.
and see these people in a different way, connect with these people, because I wanted to meet her, but I also had in the back of my mind, this would be awesome to network her. I didn't think about, oh, we can go to Dallas and do that, but boom, she opened the door, and now there we go.
Well, that's like I said, you don't know who's sitting next to you, and you don't know what that's going to create when you go introduce yourself like you did. You made yourself uncomfortable for the 30 seconds that it was, and then it turns into something more. That's
it.
30 seconds of uncomfortable. I believe Kobe Bryant's hanging on your wall somewhere over there. And Kobe Bryant said, you miss 100% of the shots you do not take.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You took the shot, right?
That's it.
I think it was a 3. Probably was a 3. But yeah, you have to take the shot.
It wasn't a layup. It wasn't a layup.
That certainly was not a layup. Talking to me, it was a layup. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And that is a very true statement. That's a profound statement, because you have to try. The answer is always what, Russ, if you don't try?
No.
We say that about this all the time. The answer is always no if you do not try. And it's the absolute truth. Just the absolute truth.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? I know we're getting near the end of our episode, and I cannot say enough that you and I met in New York City at the conference, 30 people.
Yeah.
We met, we went out that night, and around the dinner table, there were 6 of us. There was a person between you and I. So you and I weren't really talking at all around that table.
Yeah, that's correct.
I was over by Renee and, by our crazy friend Dylan. And Mustache Alex. So that was the group that I was kind of chatting with for the most of the night. Then we go up to, the penthouse where the music was raging.
Yes.
And then we started to, hang out and dialogue. Then we went to another event. Then we started, all of that to say that over a period of about 8 months, Dual Coast was birthed.
Yes.
It was birthed. Okay.
Right.
Got into the room, met people.
Yes.
You were one of the first persons I met when I walked out of the elevator.
Yeah.
You were standing there with Paul, and I couldn't go left, right. You guys were like linemen, blocking to get to the quarterback, and you guys were the two people that I met right out of the gate right there. Yes. And then we're standing there talking, and then Renee, who I have met via the phone and FaceTime and Zoom, she walks out, and I'm standing there with you guys, and then great big hug, and then it just goes from there, right? Yes, exactly. And then we all end up in Springfield. We're all talking. Right. It's just unbelievable. But you put yourself in the room, you meet people like this. Dual Coast was birthed, and here we launched in January with Frank Seppi in our first episode at the beginning of the year. It has been nothing but unbelievable conversations all throughout 2025. Correct. Today is the last episode of 2025.
Yes, it is.
Unbelievable. 52 weeks of Dual Coast.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
Unreal how it went so fast. I got to be honest with you. It went very fast, but we learned a lot. We met a lot of great people who we are still in touch with.
Yes.
But, we made ourselves uncomfortable. We grew something great out of it, and we're going to keep growing in 2026. Dual Coast.
There it is, baby. Right there. Yeah. So, I want to say personally to say thank you to all of our listeners out there.
Yes.
We have tons of listeners that are listening to us every week, whether it's live or whether it's on any of the other social media platforms that it's recorded and goes to. Thousands and thousands of followers who listen to us on a weekly basis. So I want to say from my heart, Dan's heart, thank you very much for being a part of our lives. Thank you for supporting us. Look for greater things in 2026. We've got a stellar lineup coming up in January. And I'm looking for, even bigger and better and greater things as we get uncomfortable and unrecognizable. That's right. And so if you don't have a word, think of a word. If you are watching us and you haven't shared Dual Coast with somebody else, make sure you do, because we're all about health and wellness from mental and physical standpoint. So make sure, because the guests that we have come on, we talk about diet, we talk about nutrition, we talk about mental health, we talk about physical health, we talk about red light, we talk about breathing, we talk about sleeping. We try to bring an array of guests to our show, and we're looking to expand upon that. Our third guest of January is Scott and Lori Levine.
Yes.
Scott's Protein Balls, a package of all variety of protein balls that are very tasty. We talk about nutrition. This is a protein ball that you can eat, individually packaged, or group packaged, however you call that. But anyway, it's very, very interesting, right? Chris Heine with Bond Apparel out of Minnesota. You talk about people that networked with, met Chris Heine. We speak on a regular basis now. Amazing. So we're going to talk about Bond Apparel, and we're going to talk about his fitness. We're going to talk about health and, being in the gym. It's unbelievable. Dan Sikowski in the house. Mikey Taylor in the house. I mean, January's lineup is massive. So check us out. Spread the word. Talk about Dual Coast, because great things are happening, and there's a lot of great things that are said and shared from people, from their stories. We will eventually have Amberly Lago on here. Phenomenal story. If you don't know her, follow Amberly. So it's just 2026 is going to be unbelievable.
Let's go.
Let's go, Dual Coast.
Let's go.
With that said,
as Russ said, we have a powerhouse lineup in January coming up. Please check us out next week. Listen to all recorded episodes on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. All our social media handles are at Dual Coast Podcast. We are signing off for 2025. Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you
for listening throughout 2025 and today's episode. Thank you so much again. We will see everybody in the new year. Have a blessed and happy new year.
Happy New Year, everybody. Be safe.
Be safe.